guys, this is Hersh. I'm going to do a video today on my current favorite guitar that I usually use playing live and also recording. This is my Telecaster that I made myself. I had a couple friends help me make it. A few clarifications: I did not carve the wood or anything like that. I didn't carve the neck or anything. I just researched a lot and found pieces on eBay. This whole guitar, every piece of it came from eBay. Yeah, and I just assembled it myself. I did paint it myself. It was bare wood when I got it, and I painted it white. I guess that's where I can start with the paint. I didn't use the correct paint. I used something like paint you'd use for your coffee table or something, which I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. But now that it's aged a lot and I've had it for over 5 years, I kind of like how the paint looks and how it feels. It's very rough and raw, very kind of natural feeling. If you can see, I got some stickers on it. Like here, if you look up close, the paint's really wearing off over there. And over here, it's really wearing off a lot. That's kind of where my arm goes. But yeah, paint's pretty much that, nothing special about it. Talk real quick about the parts that are in fact Fender parts on this guitar, because almost nothing is Fender. There are a few. Start with the neck plate. I put a sticker over it, but there's an F underneath that sticker. The Fender logo F, that is a Fender part. These tuning pegs are Fender. You can see there's an F on it, backward F. The pick guard, that black pick guard, is a Mexican Telecaster pick guard. So apparently it affects the sound somehow. I read some review that if it's a Mexican Telecaster pick guard, it sounds different from a American Telecaster pick guard, right? It makes a lot of sense. And I believe that these might be Fender strap locks, or yeah, strap locks over here. I only have a strap lock on the tail, on the back end over here. I only have, I don't know why I really did that, but I found one, so I put it on the back. I think it's because this is the only one that ever falls off when I'm playing. Let's see what other Fender parts. Oh, and I think that these things, the holes, those metal, I think they're called barrels. The jack might be Fender. I think this might have came from like a Mexican Tele or something. I don't know. But yeah, those are the Fender parts. One of the tuners came off at one of my shows. My guitar actually fell off the stage, and I just stuck a Mexican Fender tuning peg on there, and it fits, it works. But yeah, everything else on this guitar is either homemade by somebody or custom. I don't think anything on here is from a brand, like a real brand you find in a store. They're all these manufacturers, you can find them on eBay, that they basically they've been making guitar parts for years in their garage for themselves, and they started selling them to customers. They can custom make however you want it, or they just have pre-made ones, but pretty much everything else, oh, except for this is a Wilkinson Telecaster bridge. It's got like staggered whatever the saddles, I don't know, it's supposed to help intonation, but I don't know, I can't really tell. But I'll just start with the parts then. I'll describe them a little bit. The neck, I have no clue who made this neck, where it came from. It's bird's eye maple. If you look at it, I don't think it's a Warmoth neck. It was unmarked when I got it. Some luthier made it, but I love it. This is my favorite neck I've ever come across. Most people hate it. I'll try to show. I can't really show too well, but maybe you can tell how wide and fat it is. It's like, it feels very much like a vintage Telecaster. And the second that I strung it up for the first time, I felt like I was playing like a 60s Tele. Like, it just had something about how the strings were they had this looseness that the vintage, original vintage, not like the new relics, it had this kind of looseness to the strings that those old guitars seem to have, that I really like. But either way, it's a one-piece maple neck. There's no fretboard. The frets go right into the neck. It's got a regular, I think it's a bone nut, I'm not sure, but I haven't changed it since I got it. And it had vintage style tuners on it, except for the high E string one, which is a Mexican Tele one. I might change them to locking ones eventually. Just, I mean, these don't give me too much trouble, but that's the only thing I would upgrade, I guess. But then, so that's the neck of the guitar pretty much. Body is made, so the neck is maple and the body is ash. It's made out of, I don't know what kind of, it's, well, swamp ash. The back, you can't really see it too well, but it has a really cool stripe design. I'm pretty sure this is a two-piece ash body. But the interesting about it, maybe you can see a little bit from the side. Now it's really hard to see, but this guitar actually has a wormy maple top, and that's what drew me to the body. And if you can kind of see in the light, see how there's like that stripe pattern? Like, I think I made the paint a little too thick, but now it's starting to wear off. So you can start to see there's this really beautiful like V-shaped stripe pattern that is actually maple. So it's got a little like a Les Paul, like it's got like a maple top, and then ash back and sides. And it was interesting, the paint dried differently on the top than it did on the rest of the guitar. The paint took a lot better to the ash from the maple top, so this is gonna wear off a lot more. It's gonna look vintage or whatever. But I had no intentions of it looking relic when I first made it. I just was poor quality paint, poor research on that, but you know, I don't want to change anything about this guitar because I love it now. So yeah, the body's ash with a maple top, wormy maple. There's actually little holes, you can't really see them, but there were little holes in it, and before I painted it I had to fill the holes with wood filler. So yeah, then I'll just go up the electronic chain from that. We got just a regular Mexican Fender jack, and that goes into this control harness over here, which I'm missing the little top. It did have a little top, but I lost it a long time ago. This is, the electronics on this guitar are the best I've ever come across, I think. I don't know, they're better than any brand name. I don't even know, this wasn't even a brand or anything, it's just some guy custom wiring harnesses and selling them on eBay, and he doesn't even make them anymore. It doesn't exist, but you can find a similar one to this one, but it's very difficult to do that. It's the replica of a Telecaster that Fender once produced called the Baja Tele. It was a Mexican Telecaster. They made it, I don't know, in 2000 something. It was a great Telecaster. It was about $500, but it had this kind of wiring configuration with a push on it. This push works completely different from the American Telecaster or any Fender Telecaster except for the Baja Tele. This push does something completely different than those. I'll explain in a second. But the quality of parts in this are top notch. Like, there's some, I don't know what kind of capacitors and what this and that, I can't tell you exactly. If I opened it up, I could show you. I think it could be like an orange drop or something. But the guy who made this knew what he was doing, and this is the heart of this guitar. The tone knob this is like the best tone knob I've ever come across. Like, whatever capacitor it's attached to, this thing is just so sensitive. Like, just a little bit a turn will make such a good difference. The volume knob is really good too. I don't know, it's nothing. I mean, it's just a little tighter than most volume knobs, so you can get, it's a lot more sensitive, I guess. So like this one, but the tone knob is just great. The switch is a normal Switchcraft switch, but I'll tell you what each thing does, and then I'll go into what the button does. So instead of having a three-way switch like a normal Tele, where one is the bridge, the middle is these two in parallel, and then that one's the neck. This one has a fourth spot, which is both of these pickups in series, which means it puts them in a humbucker. Basically, they function as a humbucker. Like certain frequencies are being canceled so that it's like one big pickup. But yeah, so that's what that does. and that's what the Baja Tele does in the 4th position. So up until here it's a normal Telecaster, nothing special, and then there it goes into a humbucker, which it has a very distinct sound. This is something I was looking for, like when I was building this guitar, like I had to do that, like I wanted to do that. Now the button, oh yeah, so when you put it in here on that 4th position, that is what the S1 switch of the American Teles, the deluxe Teles usually does. When you push the button on an American Tele, it usually puts your pickups in a humbucker. Which is pretty cool, you know. I mean, I use this 4th position all the time. Just it's a matter of how you get to it. It's different on this guitar than that guitar. But because it has this 4th position, it lets this push button have a different purpose than the American one would. And with this purpose, the purpose of this, when you push the button in, it only works on the 4th position, which is when they're in a humbucker, and it works in the 2nd position, which is when they're in parallel, which both of them are on. It only works when both pickups are on in some way, either when they're in parallel or series. When you push that button, it reverses the polarity of it reverses the phasing of the pickups. And I had no idea what that sounded like, but I knew I wanted to have it. Like, I just knew I wanted to get to it because it's just something you can't find in store. And besides that Baja Tele, which is impossible to find. I think I've come across one in my life. But I wanted to have a guitar that you could reverse the phasing of the pickups. And it has kind of a wacky sound to it. Like, maybe I can as opposed to this, which is normal sounding. This one's more funky. Yeah, so, and it has a similar effect when they're in parallel, as opposed to, you see what I mean? Like, it just reverses the phasing, so it sounds a little wacky. So yeah, that's the wiring harness in a nutshell. Very crucial. And the great thing about it is, you know, if you don't push this button and you don't go to the 4th, it's a normal Tele. And I use the normal positions more than the funky, weird ones that are aftermarket, I guess, whatever. So yeah, wiring harness, very important. Next part of the guitar that's like super crucial to this guitar are these pickups. Again, it goes right back to someone on eBay making pickups. This guy's still making pickups. He's been making pickups for like over 20 years or something, which is, you know, it sounds like old, but that's like since the 90s. And if you read what he talks about with the pickups, he talks about all the different kinds of wax and different kinds of wire lengths and stuff that he uses to make his pickups. And like, he had me convinced. And not only that, was the price was so good. If you look up this guy called D-I-W-G Town, Dogtown Pickups, he makes pickups, and he makes the best pickups I've ever heard. He makes them mostly for Fender guitars, but he does make some humbuckers for like Gibsons and stuff like that. But he had this set, I think it was $120 for both of them. And like, you can't get away with paying less than $100 for like one Lawler pickup or one Lindy Fralin or whatever, those high-end ones. Like, I'm not bad talking them, they're amazing pickups. Just they're expensive. They're very expensive pickups. And that price was in mind when I was building this guitar. But he had me convinced, talking about scatter wound, which apparently there's there's 5 different thicknesses of wire in the bridge pickup alone. It just sounded like he knew what he was doing, and I didn't think I would ever get. He freaking loves what he was doing too. You know, this wasn't an assembly line pickup. Like, he made each one of them handmade by himself. So like, that's enough for me to be like, okay, I'll give these a try. And boy, do I, you know, love it. I've never come across any pickups actually that I like more than these. My ears, you know. I've heard some pretty good ones recently, but like, something about these pickups is just great. They like, what I like about them that Well, I guess I can say what I don't like about certain pickups is they get dirty too quickly. Like, there's very little headroom. There's very little clean tone. And these offer that. Like, maybe it's because they're a little lower output than like Lawlers or like, oh, it's like the Fender, the noiseless Fender pickups and all that. Like, maybe these are just lower output, but these have such a clear tone and clear sensitivity to them. They're just really well balanced. All right, I'll stop, but like, I can't say more good things about these pickups. You should try them. But yeah, these are Dogtown pickups, handmade in some guy's garage. Forgot his name, whatever, they're great. So yeah, those are the pickups, that's the wiring harness, that's the heart. This is the heart and soul, the stomach and the digestion system or something of my guitar. That is what makes this guitar. But the feeling of playing this guitar comes in the neck and the body, because it's a very lightweight guitar. That's what keeps me coming back to it. It's very easy to play and I'm never sore after playing a show. Unlike the other guitar I reviewed, this guitar has so many fewer parts than the Epiphone hollow body I reviewed, the Flame Cat, even though I handmade it. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna talk about how much this thing cost me. I want people to feel that they can build a guitar and love it and not want to go out and buy a really expensive one from the store and then still want something else. This guitar cost me roughly $700 to build. I think a little more. I think the body was $200, the neck was $200, but it came with the tuners on it, which is a plus. That's $400. Pickups were $120 for both of them, so that's $520. Wiring harness was $75, so that's $690. Let's round to $700. Bridge was $20. So, and then I don't know exactly, but I'll just count random stuff like the tuning peg. The strap things and stuff. I'll just say they're $50 for the rest of everything, and the paint and all that. So I think it cost me $750 to build this guitar. Now the only expense I really spared was on the pickups, but I wouldn't go back. Like, I think I got better pickups than the really expensive ones anyways, and I don't want to change anything on this guitar except for the tuners. I might change the tuners because these are kind of cheapo Fender tuners. They're Fender parts. I'm trying to change all the Fender parts off of this guitar. But yeah, so that's like, that's my favorite guitar. I spent $750 making it. It's exactly how I like it. Sounds better than any guitar I've ever played, well, to my ears, because I love this guitar. And it cost me half of like a decent guitar in a store. So like, well, that's my standards. Like, I think a decent guitar is like $1,500, you know. And I love this one, so I'll play it a little bit. I'll shut up and play it a little bit. This is both pickups in the humbucker mode. So here it's kind of fat, a little bit more thicker sounding, but like the high end isn't there as much as the single coils. I'll turn up the gain a little bit. I can hear this thing screech because it can screech. This is the bridge. The bridge pickup's very good. This is a neck pickup. Yeah?
Well, girl, you just ain't no good for me. Don't know why it took me so long to see. Oh,